Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow YouTubers. Welcome to another edition of Airy Sky, Rita Lee's video blog. I'm your host, Airy Sky, also known as Fleet Admiral Crabbing McCoffee. Got my giant coffee cup here. So today we're going to be talking about some stuff. Now, I got a video put together to talk about prepping. It'll probably be tomorrow or Monday. Maybe Wednesday, maybe. I don't know. All right. So a lot of you guys out there have been I've got my email set up on my computer in here to discuss with you. Sorry, my camera's a little crappy. I'm not using the other one, but I want to talk to you guys about updates. So a lot of you have been emailing me saying what's going on. You know, in previous videos, you've been hinting at telling us, because several people messaged that some give me gift cards and stuff. They've asked me about, my hinting at why I'm so busy not making videos. A couple of them said, you hinted at a young lady was coming to visit me for the holidays. Well, let me explain what's going on, okay? Because I think it's time I tell you what is going on from a timeline, okay? And this timeline is pretty scary, okay? Because there's a lot going on, and the manager is to blame for this. Yes, so I'm going to tell you, the manager's always changing the freaking rules on us tenants. Yeah, to suit our own needs. Yeah, so it goes like this, okay? I'm going to go through it all. So Miss Zoe was supposed to visit us in November, all right? And everyone knows I love Miss Zoe. She's like a real hoot. Anyway, so what happened was we lost her in a boating accident, but that's what I think happened due to the fact that I think, therefore, I will tell you what I think, okay? So basically, here's the timeline. So I think it was in mid-November, Miss Zoe buys a plane ticket to come and visit me, right? She was going to be put on my lease. Yeah, put on my lease, okay? Me and the manager discussed it already. It was already watered down, watered under the bridge. We had everything figured out, right? So what happens? So she buys her ticket. She was excited to come back here. I was excited to help too. But I was so busy with everything else that here's how it played out. So I go to I get up early, 4 a.m, and I tell Miss Zoe I have to take the boat to the mainland. Boat's where we go. And then I go and meet Chloe, and we go all the way to Burlington. Yeah, it's a long ride. I liked it, right? I've been learning a lot more about Mount Vernon than I want to. Then we get into Burlington. We do our business there. We go into a coffee shop. I have a cup of coffee. I talk to the manager, at this coffee shop. It's pretty cool, So I'm sitting there having my coffee, and the manager, I said, Zoe's coming out. I was excited. Really, really excited, right? Manager at that point, and she changes the entire playing field. 2 weeks for Zoe to visit me, no exception, trespass order, and then if Zoe basically causes trouble, I'm evicted. No ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah. That was the entire conversation, right? And I remember my memory well. Not even if I excessively drink, I can remember what happened previous day, pretty much like getting tipsy and misplacing my favorite hat that Zoe gave me. Mm-hmm. Do I love Zoe? I do. Do I wish Zoe well? I do. Now, am I sad? I am. But this isn't the end of the world, okay? So let me tell you what happened, okay? So that night I get home, right? My first time going to Costco and carrying back 2 cases of beer. Now, Zoe knew at that time I was going to have a couple beers because I had a busy day. And she was taking care of her dear dad who was sick. Yeah, poor dear dad was sick. So what happened? I was drinking my Coors, which were warm. I prefer cold beer. And by the way, Higgins, before you talk about beer, I had beer last night with my neighbor. He supplied it, but we'll get to that story in a second. So So what happened? I tell Zoe, finally I get to sit down with Zoe at home with a beer in my hand, not on video. I wish it was always video. I'd love to see her beautiful face. And what happened? Well, Miss Zoe was angry and told me I had to find her alternative house. Yeah. Fortunately, the only alternative housing or get her put on the lease. Manager, I tried to explain it to her, won't allow her. Manager changed the rules. Wasn't my changing the rules. The manager changed the rules. Now, the manager lies, the manager cheats, and the manager steals and cons people and manipulates people to a big point. Now, you're thinking, how does this play out? Well, think about it from the manager's point of view. Manager holds a carrot over you and says, you do this, you're evicted. Yeah, pretty much. So the manager turns around. And, hey, Higgins, yes, I have a couple cases of beer for the manager turns around and makes falsified statements, right? So there's this court case recently with my manager and this lady named Trish. The manager filed a restraining order against another person. Judge didn't grant it due to the fact that the manager's statements had holes in them. But the manager lied so much that they didn't do penalty of perjury under the law. They just were, right? So the manager's like, out that if I need to do something, I call a lawyer, and the lawyer does this, and the lawyer does that. But my point is manager lies. Literally, the manager turns around and says, and I quote, the rules have changed. So the other day I go to the manager, right? Because I have some problems, right? This is how bad the management is here where I live, all right? And so he knows it. So he knows it's bad, right? They got a guy who's an alcoholic cross-dresser who drinks excess vodka and he takes advantage of people. And the manager says, oh, well, if you have problems, complain about it, right? Put in a grievance. Well, recently, grievance can't be anonymous anymore. You have to put your name out. Otherwise, you can't file it. Oh, the lease law states in my rules that the grievance, when you file your name goes into a paper. Every other anonymous person, no, because it's anonymous, it doesn't hold up in court. So she wants everyone's names down the grievances. That's the rule. But she tells me that just file it under anonymous and nobody can't take care of it. No, you can't. You must file it under your real name and it'll be filed with everything else. So if we have to go to court, we can say this person saw this and this person saw that. Really, changing the rules again. This was 2 days ago. 2 days ago. And then, here's the kicker. She turns around, right? And she goes after, all right? Now, if I had to run a court thing, right? And I had to challenge the manager, I would literally line up several witnesses, in my opinion. I would line up the manager and basically break down and poke holes into her entire statements because she lies, she cheats, she steals, she threatens, she intimidates, she harasses. She shouldn't be a manager. Yeah, Zoe, back then, Zoe said, oh, the manager's right. No, manager isn't. Manager was basically placating us all by basically giving into the demands. Yeah. And so the manager, and I'm going to tell you guys something funny, okay, about this update, is the manager changes the rules. Instead of 30 days working extension or put Zoe on the lease, it's 2 weeks, no exceptions, no trespass order, and then you're going to be evicted too, Rita, because you're in charge of your friends. Well, the manager comes to me and says, oh, Zoe is trying to come out here to live with me, right? So Zoe's entitled to know, in my opinion, how much pet deposit is, right? The manager wasn't even giving me a pet deposit price, not for me. And I challenged her many times. She wouldn't give it. Well, you have a rabbit. You'd have to give up your dog or your rabbit if you brought in Miss Zoe and her cat. Yeah. So then I said, well, what about how much the deposit is for a background check? $57. And, so what happens? Manager turns everything around, changes it. No cat, no this, no that. Changes it, bends it. Pins it to her will, not the request of others. Everything the manager said. Okay, there was this piece of paper that the manager showed me recently, right? Through other channels. And that statement was completely fabricated. Yeah, I'm sitting there disgusted. Yeah, I am freaking disgusted. Meanwhile, the manager turns around. Okay, this is something that I want to share with you all. And if for by any chance Miss Zoe does watch my channel, Miss Zoe needs to realize that the manager also called Chloe a domestic violence abuser. Chloe uses her tongue, but Chloe, and sometimes her computers, sometimes her tongue, sometimes whatever, right? So the manager uses anything and everything against anyone. So, and now the newest thing is, well, I evicted Chloe not because of mental illness, because she's a domestic violence abuser. She's the one that abuses people. Oh, really? First it was, she was a fascist supremacist who called you a wop and a dago, which mentally ill, you can't hold mentally ill people. And then she now changes the wording to domestic violence. Really, I'd like, I would like to go to the courthouse one of these days and ask what is the definition of domestic violence. Hell, even my advocates are just giving the manager thumbs up for forcing Zoe off the lease. I mean, literally, that is completely illegal. I mean, look, I know Miss Zoe was furious about the manager basically doing. She deserves 3 hots and a cot. So does Zoe. And yet the manager turns and twists and changes the rules every time. Yeah. So let's continue. So here's what happened, right? So I'm having a few beers. I'm talking to Zoe. I said, how can I help you fix this, right? This was on a Friday, right? I've been forced by the manager for many things, right? I'm not going to go into details. I can't explain that. But I went out of my way, went to Anacortes, made phone calls, Bellingham, to Everett. My phone log was pretty damn big, calling up and emailing every homeless shelter from Whatcom County all the way down. I emailed 8 counties for homeless shelters. Why? Well, let me explain it to you. So Zoe, I love Zoe dearly. I've done everything I can. Turns around and needs alternative housing, right? Okay. So anyway, so what happens is she gets everything lined up to come out here, right? I tell her, before you come out here, I warn you, take a step back, take the weekend, relax, told her this on the phone, and assess your situation. You may end up homeless because the manager just turned the rules around. And then the manager decides she's going to play dirty yet again. Me, of course, I'm just angry as hell because, frankly, the manager basically does what she does. And she gets away with it. Yeah. I mean, literally, the manager does everything. Now, am I afraid? Yeah. I'll tell you. I've seen a couple episodes of Zoe that scared me to no end. It still scares me to this day. But I was willing to try and put that behind me to get Zoe settled in. But the manager says, oh, you can't have Zoe here because if Zoe gets a job, really. And your rent goes up to $1,400. And then Zoe's can't make the rent of her portion. I'd be paying $700. Zoe would be paying $700. Let's just say hypothetically, the maximum, right? And then Zoe quits her job. I'm stuck paying $1,400 as I'm the main leaseholder. So absolutely not. Again, the manager changes the freaking rules. Yeah. So in the end, I told Zoe to take a step back, right? That's fine and dandy, right? So what has happened? I don't know. I can't explain that either because I don't know. So what happened? Well, so I'm dealing with all this crap, okay? I got a lot of stress on my head. I finally turn around, right? And everything gets settled that I have to do, right? And I'm praying that Zoe, of course, doesn't do anything stupid, right? And comes out here, right? Because if she does, she may end up homeless, right? Homeless. So you got all these people around, right? Me, right? I don't mind being being a homebody, a hermit. I don't like going out. I mean, I walked out today. It was raining. Guess what? Moppy's getting wet, but he wouldn't poo, so I got to go out again. But at a certain time, it'll be lunchtime. So today's plan is I'm going to watch YouTube. But what happened? So comes time for her plane trip to come. I don't know if she used it or not. I think she did. But anyways, I can't confirm or deny it. Okay. That's not the point of the story. The point is my manager took away because I was looking forward to having Zoe clean my place. Oh yeah, stay with me. You don't need it. But guess what? The manager threatened APS. I was in a meeting with the manager and some people, right? Oh my God. I'll get to that story in a second, right? So we're sitting around, right? And this is the day she's flying out or whatever, right? Supposedly, right? And the manager is using someone's computer in this, right? And the manager's saying this. Manager turns around. She says, I'm a mandated reporter. I'm about to recall APS on Rita because of the whole thing. And she threatened me like many times. APS is, well, I won't go into details, but Miss Zoe knows this already. Zoe said to me, how's this affected? Well, the manager basically threw Miss Zoe under the bus, basically by saying, look, you got someone who's going to freeload off Rita that has no job, has no money, and is going to use and abuse Rita and take advantage of her. Wow. And if she doesn't get her way, she's going to be giving Rita tongue lashing. Well, so what happened? Well, so she's been going around, nosing around, looking at options just in case to try to drum up some extra support. I know a couple of neighbors that briefed me from a different point of view. That's been managers basically holding certain things in, like if she needs to call in someone, she can call in. If the APS thing has to call in a witness, it'd be my neighbor Janine and Trish. Don't like Trish at all. Trish should be investigated herself. And Chloe. Why would Chloe be involved? Wow, that's amazing, right? So anyways, as an old lady I am, I'm basically pissed off the manager's using the APS card while I was in a meeting with her. And she was literally there, okay, with these. She was typing up some reports, and talking statements and talking about using APS. Yeah, and I did not get to see the statements for about a week and a half, and then I got a copy and I read it, and I wanted to read. Oh my God. And that's how I know she changes the game, the playing field completely. Me, I'm pissed off as it is, but she's like, so I'm in this meeting with her, and then 3 days later, this is where the timeline gets a little skewed because I can't confirm or deny it. Okay. 3 days later, I get a call from my sister Stacy talking about the grocery store. So she thought she saw. I chalk it up to too much vodka. Again, everyone around me likes cheap vodka, apparently. Wow, cheap vodka. I guess people around Zoe once told me, I love Zoe dearly. She said to me, there's too many alcoholics on this island. Yeah, because they're too miserable because of the finances. I mean, Zoe left because she ran out of money. Was I relieved? Some ways yes, some ways no, but I did stay in contact with her. Was I relieved? Well, in one way, yes, because I was relieved I didn't have to go walk around and run around and walk around, but I'm still afraid. I'm afraid because I don't like going out in public. Thing is, that's one reason why I'm really afraid is if she came back, I'd be dragged all over town, and I don't feel safe even being dragged out all over town because of the new policies coming in. But you know what? It's fine. I just got to stay in here and buy all my supplies, play my games and stuff, and be fine, be happy, right? So here's the kicker. So Stacy says it. I chalked it up to vodka. Well, then I hear a couple other people talking about, rumor has it that they've seen her. Not my problem. Okay, if she's here, here's my thing. Okay, if she was here, my true question was, if she was here, I'm still chalking it up to too many people boozing it. I mean, let me use the restroom real quick. I'll continue. Zoe and I had this understanding there's too many alcoholics on this island. So anyways, I wash my hands. Higgins will say something about that. Then what happens? So then, we leave. And, I talk to the manager because the manager's like, you need to be informed. I was right. So I say to the manager, yeah, I spoke to Sister Stacy. She's like, oh, how Stacy do? Allegedly, she saw Miss Zoe supposedly face to face. Manager said, nah, it's not true. She's probably somewhere in New York. That's what the manager said, New York. Okay, well, all right. She drinks too much and she's seeing things. Well, all right. So anyway, so what happens? I just said, okay. So because, I told the manager if it was true she was out here, you'd think she'd contact me, right? No, maybe not. Maybe she's, so the last message I got was I was working and I didn't have time to reply. So I figured I'd just leave it alone to distance myself because, my motto was I needed to distance myself because in my heart, I knew I couldn't help her to the point to change the manager's rules. So if I stayed away, she would basically realize that her best case scenario is to realize that I care enough in my heart that I did not want to be blamed for the manager changing the rules of the game and putting her into a place like base camp in Bellingham or the Angeline Center in Seattle. I mean, I can't see a beautiful woman like Zoe being homeless. I mean, literally. And and this island, everything's expensive. Jobs are not plentiful. So, and so that's what happened. And so what happened after that was, so to this day, we don't know what happened to her. Okay. Fortunately, the manager, of course, we have things, me and the managers are duking it out, but, we're not seeing eye to eye right now because of, the managers had a meeting with my neighbor, Janine. Apparently, she was trying to evict Janine for false pretenses. She tried to evict Janine. She's been trying to evict Craig. Craig is, yeah, but Craig, thing is, everything she looks into in the privy of law, you report something, nothing happens. You report something, nothing happens. You report something, nothing happens, right? So the manager turns around and literally is using certain people in the building as spies to relay what's going on, right? Anyway, so then I turned around and I was upset, because she changes the rules. And then recently the grievance rules was just changed 2 days ago. This is why I came out today. I was walking mopping. I thought, I better, guys, give you an update because the manager keeps changing the rules on everyone. No wonder why Trish is, I've distanced myself from Trish, but if I had to have a witness, to challenge the manager, I would literally use Trish because Trish knows more of what's going on when it comes to the manager. Basically sticking it to everyone. And look, manager turns around and tells Janine and tells Craig and tells Deanna to move their dead pieces of crap cars out of the damn out of the parking lot, but doesn't enforce it. See, she goes around, you can't have that here, right? Oh yeah, and then she goes and says to people, you can't smoke pot. This is a pot-free building, but she knows damn good well there's several pot pipes sitting on Craig's table, and she can't enforce it. So who's the problem here? Not me. My problem is the manager keeps changing the rules. I mean, literally, the manager turns around and says, if Zoe's coming here for 2 weeks, I'm going to have an inspection every 2 days. Really? An inspection every 2 days because Zoe's here. Wow. Why? Because you don't think Zoe will get this place spotless? I mean, come on, I mean, literally, am I afraid of Zoe? To a point I am. She intimidates. She literally once said, you don't F with me. And this was during a snowstorm while we were walking down Tucker once. I mean, literally, that was the end of it. It gave me the heebie-jeebies, I was like, and she had fireballs coming out of her mouth. I know she wanted to be home with her little kitty cat. But the problem is she was stuck with me and, being cooped up for a week in my apartment wasn't good enough anyway, But still, the problem is So the problem is the management is the blame. The management is completely blamed for, changing the rules. Look at the grievance forms. The grievance forms turns around and says, and I quote, that I have to put my legal name down so the filing could be proper. So if the manager needs to take these people to court. Really? So now that's what she tells me. She probably tells everyone else to sign it anonymously. Why? Because it's the manager. Yeah. Do I have regrets? I do. The manager, she says stuff like, I've been handling certain things of Rita's housing for X amount of years, right? And yet it's not handling, it's more like overlording. Yeah. Chloe gets kicked out, she's all patting her. Oh yeah, now she changes the game again. Oh, it's domestic violence. What's the definition of domestic violence? I know Zoe would tell me. I mean, Zoe's around, but what is the definition of that? I mean, I would love to basically, literally, Chloe and I was sharing Chloe this note, right? This note that I got, right? About things the manager said, right? I'm not going to go into detail. And then Zoe, Chloe Beth, let's just say Beth for short. Beth, that's Chloe's name for this chat. Beth said, oh my God, you made notes. I said, yeah. Oh my God, this is inaccurate. This is completely fabricated. Yeah, but no one knows because, so fabricated. Seems someone's getting sick today and the ambulance needs to call. Fabricated. Fabricated. Yeah. And yet, I'm telling you, it's the scariest thing in the world when the manager thinks she's got enough power. She acts like a mafia boss on this build. She doesn't like, she'll intimidate, harass you. You have happiness. You're like, oh yeah, Chloe's coming to visit. Oh yeah, well, she already knows Chloe will never be put back here because no one's going to, quote unquote, challenge her kicking Chloe out illegally. I mean, literally. She literally basically backpedaled trying to tell a story to this judge when Trish used Chloe's statement. And the judge was like, she's like, oh, we have it worked out. It wasn't illegal. Really? He basically turned around and harassed and intimidated and told Chloe, you're going to fucking sign this or I'm going to fucking, never mind what she said because Chloe's the one that has to tell you the story. But you know what? Chloe would be a fucking great witness for fucking basically toppling the manager because the manager basically freaking threw her out. Yeah. And so this is something I wanted to share with you guys because frankly, we got so much. Look at my neighbor, Janine, for example. Janine turns around and the manager basically, here's what happened, okay? Here's what happened, okay? Janine's got her house completely clean, right? And her dad, not Janine's dad, the manager's dad's a repair guy, right? And the mother just loafs around, doesn't do anything, right? And so she goes everywhere he goes, right? So what happens? He goes in one day and he's all moody. He's been getting moodier and moodier. It's the alcohol. Her dad's an alcoholic. So the manager's dad and mom's boozers. So it was apparently the manager. So the manager's alcoholic twist things. So apparently Janine's all primroses and happiness and, always happy. Of course, there are certain things you don't want to ask Janine because Janine's a pistol. She's got fire out of her ears too. She's clingy. She cries. She does this and that. And I have to deal with Janine up to 2 a.m. at times. So it's me, I lose sleep. So what happened? So the manager basically leaves a note that Janine's being mean and has to have a 10-day meeting within 10 days or she's going to evict because apparently Janine was mean to her dad. Janine says, Here's my number. Call me before you deliver anything or fix it. And he just comes and knocks on the door. And she's like, you didn't call me. So the managers claimed that she was rude. Thing is, she's an elderly woman who's hurting. And, severe pain. She could probably use a pot and basically get and kill the pain. But she can't have the pot because it's illegal and made a victor for it. So you see where I'm going with this? So Janine goes into this meeting. But Janine brings her best friend and brings one of the Family Resource Center advocates. The manager backed it down, literally backed it down and said, I'm apologizing. And then afterwards, her dad apologized 3-4 days later. The manager was using this to set up to evict Janine because she can't. And this is something that I know for a fact. Okay, how's this? Manager turns around and tries to line up to evict Craig. What happens? Manager backs down. Craig's basically, Craig's an alcoholic. Craig's always gone. Craig gets notices, like, don't do this. You're violating this law. Don't do that. This is bad. A kid could hurt himself. Don't do this, and he gets these notices. Then the manager backs away after it, but Craig never goes to these meetings. So the manager just looks the other way. Yeah. Like someone says something like, there's an American flag with a sword in the flag. Oh, it's okay to desecrate the American flag. It's okay to, by law. But the thing is, they could get him for leaving the weapon out that a little kid can get a hold of. But guess what? That didn't happen. So the manager takes his weapon and puts it in a storage thing, reports it to the police. Police can't do anything. So the manager basically says, oh, just don't do it again. Here's a notice. Stop, right? Then the neighbor, basically, the other one, the one I tell you about, Trish, she basically gets notices all the time. And the manager basically is trying to line to evict her, then evict Crystal, then evict Pam, then evict this, and then that. Everyone else around us, it's like if she's wanting to target someone, she'll target someone. And so what happens? Yeah, you get the whole idea, right? Point is, we're being targeted, preppers. Now, literally, it's like if it's not one thing, it's another. And she changes the rules mid-game. Like I said, Zoe buys a ticket, right? I was happy. I was looking forward to seeing her. What happens? I'm on Anacortes. I'm on Lopez. I'm on Orcas. I'm on all these places trying to find housing just in case there's nothing. What happens? Manager turns around and, threatens eviction. Huh? Literally, am I afraid for my house? Yes, because that's the one thing that really can weaken a person's mental immunity is homelessness. I've been homeless. Do you think I want to be homeless? No. So the manager turns around and does all this and then laughs at now she's changed the game again to Chloe's committed domestic violence. Okay, so what happens? Okay, let me go tinkle because I'm not done yet because I want to tell you the rest of the story that I know. So then, here's the kicker. So, my sister Stacy says she's seen her face to face here. Yeah, okay, whatever, right? So I put it on my memory in my mind. I do worry about Zoe, I do. And yet, I go ahead, and the manager tells me to whatever. And then Thanksgiving comes, and I'm thinking, and a friend of mine calls me, another friend, I have connections everywhere, saying she swears she's seen her the last few days popping up a place. Okay, whatever. Yeah. I didn't want to believe it. Yeah, no problem. Again, I said to myself, Zoe would be smart. She's smart. She stayed back on the ranch. Yeah. That's what I said to myself, right? And that's still what I say because we haven't heard from her. Please excuse me, I'm listening to the toilet that doesn't work. Okay, so for the love of you all, I want to finish my chat today, okay? So she turns around, right? And this is what my friend turns around and says, yeah. I'm like, no, right? So then Thanksgiving ends, Christmas presents, we get it all ordered. And I keep thinking about, I don't even have Zoe's address to mail, present. I don't know, Midwest, somewhere. Probably homeless, She had a choice, be homeless out there, be homeless out here. Yeah, right. Jobs are not hard. Jobs are hard to get. Even basically people working as trans people and anacortes are having a hard time getting a job. So they're basically standing and, being a grocery checker, right? So anyways, I get through, the weekend and so then, you get Friday, Chloe went home Friday, the day after. We ordered stuff, the Saturday and Sunday, no problems, Another person said, oh, yeah, I'm like, no. She wouldn't jeopardize being homeless to come out here. She would have other ideas, right? There you go. So anyways, then what happened? I still have faith, she's not here. And she isn't. So what happened? So again, she may be here, she may be not here. I have not seen her myself, so I cannot confirm or deny it, okay? Not on this channel. But let me just tell you. So I tried to invite a buddy of mine for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Guy I know who owns a hostel. He was looking for smoked turkey. Apparently, he's not messaging me, so that's kind of weird. Now, see? And Zoe says, oh, I thought he was a friend to you. Well, maybe not if he doesn't want a freaking smoked turkey dinner and the whole works and a beer to go with it. I guess he's got his own plans, right? So anyways, so I go to this meeting, right? This was a few days ago. I go to a meeting where I had to have lunch, right, with some advocates. And the advocates were in a restaurant, and I ordered the pizza for the first time. And I was sitting there chuckling with my advocates because one advocate's leaving. And the entire advocacy group of where I'm visiting asked me to give them guidance on Monday. I said, yes, I'll give you guidance on Monday. I need to find out what your plan is for homeless and for displaced people and so forth. Well, they're like, well, you have to be here 6 months before you can get anything like travel vouchers and family resource center help and stuff. Wow, 6 freaking months. Wow, they changed the rules. It used to be come here and get stranded, they'd help you, but now it's 6 months. I guess there's too many freeloaders, as they call it. Nah, that's what they said. So I was talking to someone about working with them on mental health. So I said, I'll come in and help on mental health. That was yesterday. I spoke to someone about the mental health thing. And then when I was at, not for me, of course, I had my therapist appointment. I was going to be an ass on my therapist appointment, but I didn't. But anyway, so what happened was I spoke to these advocates. One's leaving, moving out of the country. They're happy as hell to leave. So then that leaves the housing lady who calls me and says, we'll meet Monday. So I got a caseworker, a second caseworker, a housing specialist, and the director. So I got this meeting coming up. I think it's Monday. Anyways, so I got to have the first part. I have to have Chloe on the phone with me to make sure it's coordinated. And then afterwards, I got to talk about housing and homeless and how to fix this, right? So anyway, so as an advocate, I was sitting there talking about, we're joking about how I saved money with Zoe with the Dugans, right? We all, or is it pronounced Duggins? I don't know what it's called. I call it Dugans, right? So we're joking about the Baileys and stuff at this restaurant. They have good pizza, by the way. And the lady was really nice. 6 years old, gave him up some bacon and stuff, but we were talking about, I said, yeah, I was surprised when the advocates wanted, this was like a final lunch with them because, one of them is former advocate. She's becoming a therapist. The other advocate, not one former therapist, the one becoming a therapist is actually going to leave to go to Ireland, probably. Yeah, if it gets bad. The other one's leaving the country already. That she left yesterday, and then you have these new advocates that don't know anything. So I'm sitting there. So I got a meeting to go in to fix the Chloe thing, right? But every time I went in there to see about getting help for Miss Zoe before she came out here, they wouldn't touch it. Leave it. Let her stay out there. We don't have resources. She'll be homeless. That's the thing. They even talked to me when I was in having lunch. We shared a couple pizzas. They were really good, by the way. The pizzas were great. They didn't drink the beer. I did. I guess I do have an affinity, as Zoe says, for beer, or alcohol in general. But anyways, I brought up traveling, and I said, yeah, we know. We heard from the other resource centers that you tried to get help in other islands. Yeah, I even tried all the way in Anacortes. I mean, I was so damn exhausted that, I got people saying, oh, well, when, Zoe was here, she'd exhaust you. Well, yeah. I mean, literally, I did not like leaving my house. That's the thing. I did not like leaving my house, and I did not like, when she was screaming, yelling, it scared me, and it still scares me that she could flip again, due to the fact of the whole thing going down Tucker in a snowstorm. I mean, to me, it is what it is, but, I'm still afraid. But at the same time, the manager is at fault for changing the frickin' rules. The manager changes the rules to the point of no return. And then, the manager literally says, let me tell you. So the manager turns around, right? And she says something to the effect of, me and Rita has discussed. Zoe's not coming here. I didn't discuss it. I said Zoe was coming here, even if it is 2 weeks, and I get no trespass order. When she gets off at your door. Oh, so you're threatening a no trespass order, and then you're threatening to evict me. Wow. Then she said something to the effect of, we agreed we would not modify Rita's leasing. Oh, really? That's funny, because I was on video with the lovely Zoe, and we all agreed we'd modify it. You see? That's just two of the dang things. I got like notes somewhere else on it. I mean, things that, she was talking to her legal department, or something. It was like there was other things like that I did not want her to be with me. Well, no. I didn't mind her being with me, but at the same time, I'm also angry at the fact that, the manager twisted everything to make it look like, like throwing me under the bus. And I looked at it and I said, my advocates are sitting there going, they know she was completely wrong. I said, look, everything is completely wrong. Yes, I was relieved that Zoe ran out of money. They said, why? I said, because then I don't have to walk everywhere. Thing is, I don't want to go out in this shithole weather right now where it's pouring and not raining, but it's just freaking raining. I mean, it's not pouring, but it's not windy. I mean, literally, it's getting to winter time. Do you think I really want to sit there and freeze my coochie off because of it? I mean, come on, man. I like to be inside, warm, not going out unless I have to. I got my toilet paper, my paper towels, all my supplies. But the manager said, holding it. I mean, she holds everything against everyone. I mean, look. I mean, she knows dang good and well you got at least 2 people, maybe 3 in the entire building, even maybe 4 people in this complex alone smoking pot, and yet she can't enforce it. But she'll turn around and do what she can. So, I mean, threatening APS on me. I mean, I was in there in a group, in a meeting with, where was it? 3 other people and her and me. And she's like, I'm going to call APS on Rita because I'm a mandated reporter. And I said to her, maybe I should call APS as well. And she says, why? I'm a mandated reporter. She's really, I said, I'm ordained. She said, what would you say? I'll just basically say the same crap you said and see if they come out and investigate me because I called it on myself. You think they would? No. I mean, literally, just to sit there and threaten APS. I mean, literally, the lady basically sits there and does what she wants. And she is one of those that literally says, I have the power to approve you for another year or not. If you don't do what I say, do. I mean, literally. And yet, she knows dang good and well there's all these people live in our buildings, right? Let me tell you what I think of these people, okay? All these people, Trish, supposedly, allegedly, I can't confirm it. The manager, I've heard rumors about it, can't confirm it. A couple other neighbors, I can confirm it, but I'm not going to say it. Some of these neighbors are so white supremacists, they believe the white supremacists and they believe the Hispanics should all be deported. Yeah, deported. Yeah. And yet, I'm getting to the point in my life, people, in this update today, to ask you, to beg you, to tell you, the manager changed her story, and it pisses me off. And I'm stuck in the fucking middle of it all. And the manager uses people and discards them like soiled cloth. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, look what she did with Janine. Basically gives her an eviction notice because Janine's not doing what I'm telling her to do. And then when he complained to the manager, this is the manager's favorite answer to everything. Well, if you don't like it, you can move. Really? So I don't like the rules and regulations that she literally changes on a dime. Changes it, by the way. Changes it. Literally changes it. I mean, think about it. I call her up. Zoe's got her ticket. We're ready to roll. She changes 2 weeks, no exception. And then a no trespass order. No exceptions. Then a no trespass order. And she doesn't leave. And no meetings when she comes out here. No meetings to talk to me because I've made my decision. That's what she said. Well, I tried to explain that to Zoe. Zoe decides, okay, I'm going to relieve the stress of Rita. I'm going to call. Didn't work. Didn't work at all. The manager basically said, Manager basically claimed, supposedly, allegedly, that she called multiple times in multiple weeks about cat deposit, putting herself on my lease, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And then she says that's between me and the manager. And then she says that isn't between me and the manager, it's between me and Zoe. And then if Zoe keeps this course, I'm going to be evicted because, well, I'm responsible for my friends that bother her. So in the lease law, I'm responsible for my friends. Would you guys give me a minute? Because I want to look at the time here. So it's, yeah, Higgins, sorry, dude. I think it's a nice cold beer time. I want to comfort up with a beer and tell you guys some more. Let me tinkle too, because I got some notes here I would like to share with you. Yeah, a couple notes I want to share with you, okay? So when I said to Zoe, do not come, I never said that. I said to Zoe, she needs the deep think. Deep think. Because she could be homeless. I was worried about her homeless. So then the manager, all right, let me just show you there's some notes I made, right? So in this notes, not going to share with you my notes completely, is, I told Zoe to deep think on this, right? Some of the notes that I have are notes from the what's on my clipboard here. The manager, right? And the manager turns around and I made notes because of her supposed paper. I acquired it from other sources. I wasn't supposed to have it, apparently. So again, remember I said the manager was telling me that we both agreed that Zoe wasn't coming. No, I didn't agree that Zoe wasn't coming. I was agreeing Zoe was coming. Even if it was for me to have my house cleaned for 2 weeks, she was coming. And then I'd figure out what to do when she got here. But yeah, the manager had to change the rules. The next note was, the modifying of my lease. Okay, the modifying of my lease was literally the freaking catalyst. We agreed to it. The manager said we never agreed to it. Really? That's basically a bunch of, there's 3 holes right there. Do we want to punch some more holes in it? I acquired this, by the way. It's something that the manager was holding, using without my knowledge, or what should I say, with my knowledge, but I didn't know the contents of it. So I had to literally go through different channels to get a hold of it because I wasn't allowed any of it to myself. Remember, I said she thinks Zoe, one of the things in the notes, was going to take advantage of me, and she was calling APS. Calling APS and Zoe. APS? I already have friends with the APS lady. She said unless Zoe was present in my house and was literally taking advantage of me and there was proof, she wasn't going to investigate. But manager threatened, so there is another answer right there. Next note. Like I said, manager's claiming she's being harassed for several weeks, multiple times a day, to be put on my lease. Supposedly, allegedly. Yeah, I'm going to use allegedly, because frankly, I don't know the whole thing. The phone logs, the phone call logs would show. We could always ask for I told the manager, ask for the phone call logs if you're that fucking smart. But she thinks that me and Miss Zoe, I'm going to just say it because, the manager basically has the authority to threaten me to kick me out of my own home. That Miss Zoe is dumb as a bag of hammers or a box of hammers, and I'm dumb as a box of hammers too because the manager thinks she can outmaneuver everyone to save her own bacon. And finally, the last one. Did she or did she not tell Zoe to not contact her, but only contact me? Because from what I understand is we have to have another meeting before Zoe came out here. I think that's why Zoe's in another state right now. Literally talking about maybe in New York. That's, but, so with me, of course, that is, those are the things that I got a hold of something or other, right? Now, everything, see, I had to write a report too on something, because the manager, she's basically being really, so anyway, my report was, how long have I known Zoe, and some facts, and so forth and so on. Like I said, I did feel intimidated and threatened due to the fact that how she held herself, and certain things. But I always felt that way, always have and always will. I am scared because one time during going down the road in a snowstorm, like I said, she literally said, no one F's with me because we F back infinity times infinity, pretty much. It was just like, you don't screw with me at all. Yeah. And that's, And she had fire coming out of her mouth, like I said, when she was living in my place for a week while missing her cat because her pipes are frozen. Yeah. Now, did she move off the island because she was out of money? Yeah. She even admitted that on my own channel, on the channel. When she left in May, she said, I am out of money. The thing is she ran out of money. It was a financial thing. If she could stay, she could. I told her before we lost her in a boating accident, there's ways to live on this island without going to the grocery stores. You just got to get up at 4 a.m. and get your ass out of a cot and go to Costco. I mean, me and Chloe does that all the time, but anyways, now my statement, that my report, I call it a report because it was just something anyways, I've already stated that, manager changed the rules. Me and Zoe were pissed off. That was something in my statement here on video as manager changed the fucking rules. Literally saying, instead of 30 days and then putting her on the lease to test her out, it was 2 weeks, then out the door. No questions asked. And, to me, finding her alternative housing, I tried. I really did. Adding her to the lease, that was something I couldn't tell her face to face that I can't add her to the lease. I mean, what made me uncomfortable the most was the manager. The manager literally said, absolutely not. She was like, I am saving you from another abusive relationship, and Zoe is abusive towards you. There's other tenants like Trish and Janine and Craig and others apparently that's seen it. Really? What's abusive? Huh? Financial abuse? Mental abuse? Sexual abuse? No, sorry. That's not there. All right. But I'm just saying there's 7 types of abuse? Exploitation abuse? I mean, literally. So, did I feel comfortable doing that? I did feel comfortable wanting to put her on my lease, but I did not feel comfortable when the manager said she was going to use the Violence Against Women's Act to kick me out of my own home, like I said in the beginning, and throw me out of my own home. And, was she harassing the manager? By the manager's own opinion, yeah. Was she harassing me to find, let's put it this way. Let's not use the word harassment. She was putting the screws to me or putting the pressure on me to find alternative housing. Yeah. But there was nothing. Even Miss Zoe knew this. But the point is we don't know what happened to Zoe. So let me just say, on that. But yeah, that's all true. Was I feeling uncomfortable? To a point, yes. Was she trying to get appointments with the managers? Oh, yeah, all the time. Manager was feeling upset. I remember being in the doctor. My blood pressure was 185 over 80. I mean, literally through the roof. I had so many times. Chloe was like, oh, go to the emergency room. Nah, I'm good. You see me not stressing right now? It's because, well, slowly but surely the pressure is going down due to the fact that down because the politics, But anyways, so one of the things I was telling the manager was telling me, the manager keeps telling me, Zoe doesn't have the authority to call her and try to put herself on the lease, to release to undo my stress so she can take some of the burden. The manager said it's between me and her, and we have the authorities, not Miss Zoe. And Miss Zoe, of course, the manager was like, look, I'm about to evict you because you are responsible for your friends. Yep. Stroke level blood pressure. Yep, pretty much. That's something I was going to say, is that. And am I afraid it's going to cost me my housing? Yes, I do. But you know what? I'll tell you one thing. They say the truth always sets you free, right? And because the truth sets you free, The problem is, I'm checking my email real quick. The problem is when you speak the truth sets you free. And you know what? If I have to be homeless because I got to tell people the manager is corrupt, then I will, because the manager, my opinion, she's literally like, yeah. And that's something that I'm hoping. There's a spider in your coffee. Come on, Higgins. So he's basically sitting there, basically bored out of his gourd, so he had to do. So Higgins gave me some advice. Higgins, when I'm done, I'm going to call you, actually, because I think I'm going to talk to you about this. So anyways, what am I saying? Let me just tell you this. So basically, for the final part of it, it was... So did I tell Zoe I did not want anything to do with her? I distanced myself. I stayed quiet because, the manager is basically turning and changing the game plan every few days. So, when I basically stopped talking to Zoe, it's because I care. And yet, I did not want to see her homeless. And I figured if I distance myself, then there would be no problems. Unfortunately, the problem persisted due to the fact the manager changed the rules of the game. So, yeah. And yes, I did tell everyone on YouTube to leave me the heck alone. That was verbally, yeah, because I wanted to be left alone because I wanted to be left alone to my devices, gaming stuff and stuff. But two is I want to be left alone to cry because the manager changed the rules. I mean, I wanted my house cleaned. Yeah, who wouldn't want a free house cleaning and put up someone while you figure out what to do? I mean, if I can find housing for Chloe, it was probably going to be easy to find housing for Zoe, or at least, modify the lease. But nope, couldn't do that. Manager wouldn't do it. Manager's not saying, yada, yada, yada. Now, the thing about do I want her in my house? Well, I did, yeah. But I am also afraid because, the thing is, for 1 week in a snowstorm, she missed her cat, and like I said, she was very fireballs coming out and snapping and barking, and not doggy barking, but barking orders, and it basically got on my nerves, and I'm one of those that I needed. I think when she left, I didn't see Miss Zoe for 2 weeks. I remember correctly. I stayed away from her. I was like, 1 week was good enough, And do I want her near me? Not right now. Literally not right now because, with everything happening, and the threats that's been made towards me and my housing and everything else, I'm afraid. I'm really afraid. I mean, I am afraid, And it's terrifying me that someone who knows that they could be homeless. Hold on. Eek a spider? Come on, Higgins. Then what is terrifying me also the most is, someone who knows they can be homeless after 2 weeks, and yet it terrifies me to no end. The manager wants them out. The manager doesn't. See, the problem is, okay, and I want to talk about this for a minute, okay, to finish up, is was afraid, that if they, I'm terrified that staying with me because either I'd lose my house because of their temper, or I'd lose my house because the manager basically says I'm responsible for. So say Miss Zoe hypothetically is on the street and she's walking along and she's like halfway going up to the labs. That's what we call it up on the road, right? And the manager sees it and she's like, which is, everyone knows Zoe loves her pot, right? Next thing you know, manager's giving me eviction notice because she heard the smell of the rumor has it there's pot smell next door, right? But instead of blaming my neighbor who's 22 smoking and Rita and Zoe smoking, guess what? Bam! Manager just changes the rules again. So I'm afraid. And yes, I'm terrified that someone would be so adamant coming out here. Anyways, even if it puts them in the danger zone of being homeless, so I backed away because I'm scared. I'm scared for myself. I'm terrified the manager will do anything in her powers, and so I'm afraid. I'm afraid that if we have someone living with me, their temper will flare. I mean, look, even Higgins knows that Chloe can snap at me for anything like yesterday. So, the thing is, I won't go into the rest of the details, but you guys get the idea. The thing is, the manager is doing what the manager is doing. And me, I'm just sitting here basically telling you my side of the story to a point because, frankly, I think it's best to know that if anyone is watching this, especially if Miss Zoe is watching this for recon, I had no intentions of allowing the manager to change the rules. And Zoe knows this. Zoe knows this with a passion. Higgins knows this with a passion, don't you, Brother Higgins? He knows that the manager basically evicted Chloe illegally. Mental illness, so we'll just throw her out. Mental illness, transgendered. Chloe would be the perfect fucking witness to anything. Literally, Chloe would sit there and basically, manager freaking threw me out of my home because I got angry and called her a whopping a dago. And guess what? I've been homeless for 2 years, and the manager's laughing. Oh, yeah, thanks, great manager. Yeah, woo. I'm saying, manager, patting yourself. You're a great manager. You basically evicted a trans woman who's got mental illness. Woo! Yeah, now I'm controlling the other person under the trans umbrella by... You're going to be evicted. I don't know how many times Miss Zoe heard me talk to her on the phone about being threatened eviction for anything. I mean, literally. Toilet's breaking. Oh, we're going to evict you because you won't let us fix the toilet. Oh, we're going to evict you because your toilet flap's falling apart. We put in a crappy toilet part, but the toilet, we're going to evict you because you didn't do this. Oh, really? So what happens to the manager? The manager turns around and says, we're going to evict you for this. Really? You're the one that's supposed to give us new smoke detectors by law, and yet you are not even putting them in anywhere. Yeah, I mean, literally. It threatens to evict Janine and Trish and Crystal and Pam and me and Craig and Andy and Kathy at times and, and Chelsea and Deanna. And that's what half the building right there threatens because the manager doesn't like it. Oh, Chelsea's walking out in the parking lot and the camera caught her. Well, may or may not be working camera, apparently, hypothetically. That they wanted to put cameras everywhere so they could see everything moving. But guess what? Oh, there's no money. So the manager does, we're just going to change the rules. Yeah, literally. And that's what pisses me off the most. Yeah, think about it. Manager changes the freaking rules. Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to go against it, but the management company needs to be basically the management company. I believe they're out here is Ad West. I believe Ad West needs to be basically explained to HUD and the USDA why they evicted a trans woman who's autistic when the manager changes the rules and says, it was domestic violence. Really, domestic violence. Think about it. Domestic violence, people. Is it domestic violence? I don't think so. Chloe's 7-8 years ago, there was some stuff, but not anything else. Think about it. Oh, there goes Higgins again. Yes, Higgins, I'll call you soon. I'm still talking, and I may tinkle again, too. But what does Higgins have to say? It's basically keeping tight lid on things. Let's see. So basically, the manager, Higgins is saying that I can record my manager. No, I can't. He's saying this. Look up the statute in Washington State, unless you are being. And Zoe knows this already. Zoe knows this with a passion. That if you're going to record someone in the state of Washington, you need to let the other party know, the other third party know that you're recording them. Otherwise, you can't. Then you have to get permission. Sorry, Higgins, that's the law from what I understand. You can't record someone without permission. Why do you think Trish, by the way, who went to court, submitted all these recordings, and the judge said it was inadmissible in court because she didn't have permission to record them. And she says, well, it's for my safety. And the judge said, no, it isn't for your safety. It's basically, you're basically trying to use this against people. And guess what happens? You basically screwed up royally. And now you're basically screwed. I mean, literally. You got Trish, by the way, who tries to act like a thug, too. It's like the whole building's a bunch of thugs. All right, so to finish my beer up, I got to call Higgins in a minute. But let me just tell you the last part of my story, okay? So I go into this meeting with pizza, right? We had a great meeting, great lunch. And I talked. And the lady that just moved out of the country as of yesterday looked at me and said, you can't trust the manager. She'll lie and throw everyone under the bus. And we are getting tired of cleaning up her mess. Like the housing advocate I meet up with Monday was with Janine in her meeting recently when she was served the eviction notice for being rude to her dad. You can't be rude to the maintenance people. Really? Yet the one who triggered it was her dad. Her dad and her was basically moody, and the manager basically took it upon herself to freaking change the rules. Oh, it was not my dad being moody. Her dad admitted it, but you see, they changed the rules. Now, you guys are wondering, you're saying, okay, this all makes sense. So oh, great, there goes Higgins. Yet again, I said I'd call you, Higgins, when I'm done. Actually, yes, but I can't. See, even if I record it without the manager's permission, I can't use it in court. That's the law in this state. So technically think about it, okay? So there you go. But let me just tell you, okay? So the manager turns around and changes the rules, right? Changes everything. And it pisses me off that she can get away with it. Yeah. Get away with it to a woman who just needs help. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what help I was going to give her, but you see, then, the thing is remember what I said to you all. I'm going to finish my beer and leave, okay? Is the manager went with me, and she can't deny this. So when we were both in the same room with the meeting. We were in the meeting together. She was there. She didn't want me not to be there without her. Think about it. Think about it, people. You do the math. What's that tell you? I'm leaving a video documentation just in case. What? Because I want the lovely Zoe and others to know that I'm not the problem. You want the problem? Go look at the manager who changes the rules. Changes the frickin' rules. Yeah. Yeah, changes the frickin' rules, and we get to be the ones to be blamed for it. Let's blame Rita for it because, well, Rita basically, Rita is let's blame Rita. Let's blame Rita. I mean, look, they want to blame me for it. I mean, look, even one of my advocates in the meeting was basically patting the manager on the back for illegally booting. Well, illegally booted, Chloe out. I mean, Chloe would be a perfect person if HUD called it in or whatever. Chloe could literally sit there and say, yeah, this is what happened, Your Honor. This is what happened, Your Honor. I mean, literally. No, this is what happened, Your Honor. Instead, look what happens. Nothing. Hey, what is that exactly for content? I saw it said something about. Oh yeah, unlisted. Right. Okay. So I had a couple unlisted. Yeah. So I mean, think about it, my friends. Think about it. I mean, do I feel bad? I do. I feel pissed off and angry that I gotta sit here and I've been, let's just say, semi-excessively drinking because I know the damn thing is the truth needs to be set free, and the manager is not the truth. The manager claims, yes, I have great faith in God. Yes, I do. And then the manager changes the rules. Yeah. Like the other day, manager turns around and says, "Oh, it's almost Christmas time. We got to do some work here. Instead of changing this or fixing the fires, the new smoke detectors by law we have to have, which apparently there's no money in the reserve. Apparently put it up. So if everyone's smoke detectors go out, well, it's not our problem because they can't fix it without, So they're like, oh, we're going to replace them. We have to replace them all at once with these new ones, really, because they don't like the ones with 9-volt batteries. Okay, I'm waiting. So what happens the other day? Yeah, you guys are thinking, okay, so what happened? So the other day they go in and I hear, and then they go, and then instead of having my clip where Zoe knows where my little clip is on the side of my door, they decided to put it right there. And then they're like, you cannot put a Christmas wreath over your clip. So I can't put a Christmas wreath on my door because they just put the clip right there in the. I mean, come on, man. And then she's like, yeah, I mean, literally. Oh, well, if the neighbor is really harassing another neighbor, you're a witness, you need to report it, put it on paper with your name on it so I can start evicting people. What about being anonymous? Oh, that doesn't hold water in court. So it doesn't hold water in court, so I'm supposed to give my name up just to basically, so you can basically do that. So I can basically now be considered a formal harassment with too many grievances. Yeah, this is the manager's way of getting rid of people. And so, I looked up the rule. You have to use your real name. Oh, then I'm not going to complain then. Well, if you don't complain, look, if the neighbor basically upstairs claims that, okay, the neighbor upstairs is claiming that a 22-year-old supposedly, hypothetically, is being assaulted. We're not going to go in there. Or her daughter. We won't go to the age there. Then I'm supposed to call police this, and this. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not going to because, frankly, I think the lady that's complaining about it's fucking mentally a loon ball who basically turns around and is basically making things up as she's drinking excess amount of vodka. And because you want me to put it all on paper, you want me to basically out myself this way so you don't have to be dealing with it because you're a Mormon and you believe your religion's more important than me. And so you want me to basically out myself by saying Rita's a bad egg by writing reports. But if I sit there with my complaints on my desk and say, oh, so now I can't be anonymous, but I have to change it. It's like her changing the rules when it comes to Zoe. Zoe was basically, we made the agreements. We were going to modify that lease. We were going to do everything. The man is no. She's harassing. I'm going to evict you for it because you're responsible for your friends. Yeah, so think about it that way. The manager, and by the way, this report, manager doesn't give a crap. The manager doesn't care. The manager is like, oh, I don't have to worry. Really? What, the manager thinks that I'm in her corner when she basically turns around, throws Chloe out, and then says, oh, Chloe can never come back. Really? Why is that? Oh, because you just don't want Chloe. Yeah, Chloe's a man in a dress. Oh, yeah, she's not a real woman. Oh, she's not pretty like Zoe thinks she is. We just don't want to tell Chloe that because she'll get a big head. But guess what? It all backs to quote unquote. Yeah. And yet, the manager lies. That's the worst thing in the world that I can't. I had a dream last night, everyone, a vision. That I was in a house, and the house was concrete floors, and the floor basically opened up a sinkhole, and it kept going, and you could see light all the way at the bottom of it. So I inquired about it, It was saying, don't fall into the hole or don't crawl in the hole and keep going downwards because you may never get out. To me, I want to say I'm not going to hit rock bottom, but I am saying that the management company is a bunch of lying pieces of crap that need to basically be accountable for. Oh, I'm sorry. Apparently, corruption wins every time now, including management companies in this damn day and age, because apparently you can be corrupt and be the president of the United States. Not that I'm calling my president a corrupt person. I'm just saying from what the media thinks. If they want to go after people and subsidize housing, they need to get rid of the corrupt management companies and the managers. Half of them buy properties like this, and they don't maintain them. Remember what I said, my friends. The other day, right, I told my manager, and this is something I want to tell you guys because this is really sad, right? I got a sink that's leaking, right? Turn it on and it's sports spot. Zoe knows it. She's seen it. What is everyone else is getting these new fancy long sinks with a handle with a little pull string out, and you can me? Oh, you're not worth it. We'll replace your faucet when you move out. So if it leaks and rots away half the wall, well, it's not their problem because they can just blame it on me, even though I put in a work report many times over, and they just don't care. Yeah, think about it. The managers don't care. They just throw me a bone once in a while, when I ask, I have a good working relationship with the manager. I want Zoe here. Okay, no problem. Then all of a sudden she finds a way to change it. What is she hiding? Think about it. What is she hiding? The manager, that is. What is she hiding that Zoe doesn't know? Well, let's break that down for a second. Zoe knows I live in a drama-filled building. You got Chelsea and all the rest of the people. Chelsea smokes a vaping pot in her place. Craig smokes pot in his place. I've seen it. The manager's like, put it in writing. Really? What for? I mean, literally, if you've seen it, the manager even confirms she's seen it, but the manager said she can't do anything. She can't just sit there and flip out her phone and go, oh, yeah, I got a pot pipe sitting on the counter. You're evicted, Craig. We got you, Craig. And said, yeah, put it in writing. Put it in writing. Yeah. Put it in writing. Yeah. Everything's put in writing. Yeah. Manager changes her plans. Every time you say, just put it in writing. Now, Zoe knew something that happened recently, okay? Now, let me tell you the story. So, I love Zoe dearly as a sister. So, one day I was telling Zoe a private issue about Craig, right? She knows what it is, right? Proof's on my camera, right? Right? Manager wanted to use it against him for blackmail. Yeah, blackmail. Wow. Isn't that interesting? Finding out that he's a cross-dresser that may or may not be completely naked with possibly 3 testicles. Yeah. Oh, I want that for blackmail to get rid of Craig. Meanwhile, I'm an advocate, okay? We know Craig's a boozer, but even Zoe's heard the story about the camera, right? Yeah, so guess what? Wow. Blackmail. And yet, I would love to, really. Thing is, I got it, and the police want a copy of it because someone who's doing this, and this shouldn't be doing this, and this. But guess what? The manager can't enforce it. The manager sits there and sends a note saying the only violation is you put a sword on the lawn, threw a flag, and the sword could be picked up with a kid, and yet nothing happens to him. So the manager claims that she reported to the police, and the police were going to arrest him. But where is he? I mean, literally, the manager knows he drives around in his car, his SUV, every day with his little kayak on it. What's he doing? He's got this little can that covers his beer can, and it shows Coke. So when he's driving, police know something. Why? Because, well, he's a hardcore alcoholic. But the manager turns around, put everything in writing. Yeah, like I'm going to put everything in frickin' writing. Yeah. Think about it. Manager turns on a dime. Okay, I was excited for last month. Zoe was coming. I was excited. And then all of a sudden, soon as the manager found out, oh, I need proof that she has a ticket. Oh yeah, guys, she sent me a copy. Yeah, what happens? Here you go. She changes her tune. Yeah. Oh wow. Oh wow. Right. Then the manager says, "You're inviting a person that you're an acquaintance with. Acquaintance that you don't know anything about. Could be a serial murderer. Acquaintance," she says to me. Because we don't know background check. Everything she says, except for being a writer, is everything she says could be false, except for writing. She could be a schizophrenic blob. That's what the manager said. That's trying to freeload off people. Really? That's amazing. So the manager changes the rules. Now, why am I saying all this? This is your update. I'm pissed at the manager. And what is she going to do next week for changing the rules? Huh? The week after, the week after, the week after, the week after. Yeah. Think about it. I'm out. This video has gone long enough and I got to call Higgins. So think about it, my friends. Manager changes the freaking rules every few days. What's next, huh? What is freaking next? Anyways, I'm going to call Higgins. So, like I said, he just emailed me. So, please add and subscribe. Please post comments. Please leave feedback, suggestion. Hit the like and subscribe button. Hold some fun for your family, including your dogs, cats, bunnies, or service dogs, or service bunnies. The bell notification, thumbs up button, subscribe button. Keep the comments nice, all we ask, and I'll be updating you soon on a video about when it's time to buy big ticketed items before January 20th. Thanks for watching. God bless you and everything you do.